Have you ever found yourself playing totally by the rules? Waiting your turn, assuming everyone's got good intentions, only to get completely run over? You're sitting there expecting a reward for being a decent person, and boom. You get crushed by someone who just decided they wanted to win more than they wanted to be polite. It's a brutal reality check, right? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving headfirst into some intense, no-nonsense philosophy that strips away all those comforting illusions we have about fairness. The goal? Figuring out how to build the kind of character that simply cannot be broken by an indifferent world. Let's get into it. Here is our game plan for today, broken down into 5 key ideas. First, we'll look at the missing cosmic referee. Then we'll tackle the fake hardness trap. Third, we're conquering your inner softness. Fourth, we'll figure out how to fail smart. And finally, planting the iron garden.
All right, let's kick things off with idea number 1, the missing cosmic referee.
To really grasp this, we need a massive reality check about how the world actually works. Imagine stepping onto a basketball court. You go up for a perfectly clean shot, and out of absolutely nowhere, a defender just levels you. You hit the floor hard. You look around, waiting for the referee to blow the whistle, because you played fair. But then it slowly dawns on you, there is no referee on this court. There never was. You see, society totally conditions us to expect that someone, somewhere, is going to step in and balance the scales. But out in the real world, that referee is missing in action. This ties perfectly into an ancient Latin phrase the text leans heavily on, via victis, which literally translates to woe to the conquered. But in plain English, it basically means losers weep, winners keep. We all desperately want to believe in some cosmic court that will magically step in, shame the dirty player, and just make things right. But relying on that comforting illusion, that is exactly what gets good people crushed. Here's the kicker. The universe does not care about your pure intentions. It just doesn't. It doesn't care about your backstory, your struggles, or your tears. According to this pretty brutal philosophy, the universe is entirely indifferent to our excuses. It only asks one cold, hard question. What did you do? Results are literally all that matter here. You don't get any bonus points just for trying hard or being sincere. The text makes this point incredibly clear with a tough quote, "The defeated simply do not get to write the terms of reality." Think about that. Their explanations for why they lost or how totally unfair it all was, they might be beautifully written, but their graves remain silent. Sitting around waiting for karma to do your dirty work is not a strategy. It's really just a way to guarantee you become raw material for someone else's project. That's a heavy thought for sure. Let's shift gears to idea number 2, the fake hardness trap. Now, if you take everything we just talked about and decide to treat every single aspect of your life like a brutal, all-out war, you are going to fall into a massive trap. It's literally like wearing full medieval plate armor to a nice dinner party. You don't look strong or capable, right? You just end up ruining the host's chairs, you can't even feed yourself, and you quickly alienate all your friends. If you're treating simple, everyday disagreements with your boss or your family as an absolute battlefield, you aren't being strategic. You're just treating a normal Tuesday like a medieval siege. Faking hardness by just shutting off all your emotions, that doesn't make you tough. It actually makes you incredibly weak. It turns you into a brittle, amputated, predictable brute. And let me tell you, predictable people are super easy to outmaneuver. True strength isn't about acting like some unfeeling robot. It's about feeling deeply, but acting wisely despite the emotion. If your ego is so ridiculously fragile that you can never apologize or negotiate a compromise, you aren't a master strategist. You're just stuck. Moving right along to idea number 3, conquering your inner softness. Look, before you can handle the brutal outside world, you have to conquer your own inner world first. The text throws out this super heavy quote, "Man must become more evil." Now hold on, it is not telling you to become some comic book villain. It doesn't mean being cruel or cheating your neighbor, not at all. It redefines evil as the capacity to be utterly, ruthlessly strict with yourself. It means systematically cutting out your comfortable habits and completely rejecting your own sentimental BS excuses. It is honestly scary how fast we can lose the war before firing a single shot. Let's look at these 6 internal battlefields. First up, attention. If your focus is constantly getting hijacked by outrage algorithms on your phone, you've already surrendered. Habits, what you repeat becomes your character. Fear, whatever you avoid mastering eventually becomes your master. Desire is a huge one. If you can't control your cravings, they own you entirely. Resentment, Secretly envying others just limits your own potential. And finally, language. If you're constantly using victim language, guess what? You're literally crystallizing yourself as a victim. But here's the catch to all this discipline. You absolutely need a sense of internal irony. You have to be able to coldly laugh at yourself and constantly audit your own motives. If you lack self-suspicion, all this intense self-discipline just devolves into silly, macho internet posturing. Like those guys posting cringy pictures of lone wolves online. You have to step back and ask yourself, am I actually seeking truth and capability here, or am I just looking for a tough mask to hide behind? Which brings us to idea number 4, how to fail smart. Because let's be real, no matter how tough or prepared you are, the world is eventually going to hand you a crushing defeat. But there's a huge lie out there we need to bust right now. Going through hard times does not automatically make you wiser. It just doesn't. Suffering alone will just make you bitter and traumatized, unless you actively, intentionally reflect on the actual mechanics of your failure. You have to audit your defeats.
So next time you fail, and you will, don't just sit there and sulk. Walk yourself through these 5 brutal but completely necessary questions. 1. What did I fail to see? 2. What false assumption did I make? 3. What early warning signal did I intentionally ignore just because it was inconvenient? Oof, that one always hurts. 4. What daily habit made this negative outcome entirely predictable? And 5. What exact measurable behavior will I change before my next test? Actively walking through these questions is literally how you turn a painful defeat into paid tuition.
And that perfectly sets up our final point today. Idea number 5, planting the iron garden. This wraps everything we've talked about into a synthesis called the Iron Garden. And the core principle here is strategic kindness. Now, this isn't about being a naive pushover, but it's also not about being a paranoid cynic. Strategic kindness is conditional. It's about saying yes with genuine warmth and giving your resources freely, but keeping the receipts. It means having the steel spine to say no and actively refusing to feed parasites or people who just want to manipulate you. To actually maintain this balance in real life, the text offers this simple daily blueprint. 5 things you need to do every single day. 1, do a hard physical thing, so your mind isn't carrying around a weak body. 2, do a hard mental thing, so your body isn't being piloted by a fool. 3, do one honest thing for your soul, like actually admitting a fault. 4, do one useful thing for others, but strictly without making them dependent on you. And 5, do one strategic thing for your future self, like building a new system or saving a few bucks. Hitting these 5 marks is how you stay sharp, capable, and fundamentally human. Which brings us to the ultimate question posed by the source material. Imagine you spend your entire life perfecting your armor, studying the dynamics of power, and conquering all your bad habits. You win the ultimate victory. The game ends. Who exactly is the person left standing in the piece that follows? If you have absolutely no enemies left to fight, what kind of person will survive inside you? Have you planted a garden that you can actually live in? Or have you just built yourself an inescapable prison? Something pretty massive to mull over as you step back out into the arena today. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Take these tools, test them out in the real world, and we'll see you next time.